Welcome to the fish tank!
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. Back in February, which seems like a lifetime ago now, considering all the things that are going on, I did the big pond renovation, and I came across a cleaner that I actually really liked. It's actually better than the one I currently use, which is in that bottle there, just Windex. It's nothing new for sure. So what I'm going to do, I found the two oldest and grubbiest pieces of glass I have in the fish room, ones I was just going to throw out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them through the paces with each of the cleaners, and we'll see which one turns out looking the best. Very straightforward. I'm going to spray the Windex on. I'm going to use a razor blade because I left a lot of, this one I had planned on doing for a little while, well, since I found the cleaner. So I took these off the old tanks that they were on, and I let them sit in the shop and dry out and get as crusty as possible. So they're going to need a razor blade to get them partially clean to start off with. And then I'm going to spray it again, as you can see here, and then I'm going to scrub it down. Then I'm going to dry it off, and then the hard part, the one that's going to have the biggest challenge, I think, for both of them, is the reverse side here. Because this is, well, where all the calcium will build up, where water drops will splash up from the aquarium. And then, of course, they'll evaporate, and you get little bits of calcium. And this is going to be the hard part for each of these cleaners, because this lid here and the other one are somewhere between 15 and 20 years old. I honestly couldn't tell you. Don't keep track. So anyway, we're going to give them a good clean. I didn't really pick one over the other for their dirtiness. I just picked two random ones and put one on one side, one on the other. The first thing I noticed about using the Windex, it looked clean initially, but as you can see, as the liquid, that's the little bit of remaining liquid on the surface, evaporates, the calcium, and partially I suspect some bit of etching that's in the glass, that you can see it now. It comes out. It does not really have any real effect on that level of calcium. Now, granted, 90% of the time, most people won't come up against a material like this that is this far gone. But it was, I think, still a fair test. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the new liquid, the new cleaner I've been using, and I'm going to spray this side and the other side, do the same thing as I did for the other one, and we'll see if there's a difference. You can see I'm using, if you remember watching the pond video, this is the spray bottle, those plastic jugs with the pump that you can inject air into to pressurize. That's what I'm using, because it's the only thing I have currently. Well, with everything closed, I couldn't go out and pick up just a little mist bottle. There's a little bit more I'm using on here. As you can see, there's more liquid. But then again, it's hard to control how much comes out of that. It's kind of like on or off. So as this progresses, I'm going to let you know what they are. I already told you what the first one is. It was Windex. And then the second cleaner, the one I'm using here, this is acetic acid. This is what's called cleaning vinegar. If you put vinegar on your fries, it's 3% vinegar by volume. This is 30% by volume. So it is 10 times stronger than what you put on your fries. It does give you a little sting to the nose, I noticed, especially when I was using it a lot on the pond. It does have a fair amount of kick to it that way. And of course you do have to use it straight, because if you mix it with water, then you're just defeating the whole purpose. So I'm going to do here, this is the underside. I'm going to give it a good coating, because I noticed when I was working on the pond, that was really crusty as well. It did take a couple of applications to get it to, once the vinegar hits the calcium, there's a chemical reaction, and you get, you've seen it before. It's just it fizzes, and of course, as it does that, it becomes less strong. So you have to have a fair amount of it on. So this is the first. Like right now, I'm doing exactly the same as I did for the other one, and You'll see as this dries, there's still some remaining little bit of material there. So this is going to dry, and it's going to be exactly the same as the other one in a second, since I turn it down here. And you can see a little bit of that fog, the little bit of etching and or calcium that's still left on the glass, but it is a lot less than, let's see, the one on the right is Windex, the one on the left is vinegar, and you can see that there is a lot less. What I'm going to do here now, though, is I'm going to give it one more quick clean with the vinegar, the one on the left, and we can have a final comparison. I know it's not fair. I should have done the same thing with the Windex too. But this is, like I said, just to give you a quick idea. And I have actually been using this. Okay, this is the second one. You can see it's actually, again, a lot cleaner. And on the pond, I noticed it took 2 or 3 times, sometimes 4 to really, really bad spots, because it only can absorb so far into it. But this is actually quite a big difference. I've been actually using this in the house because of all the viral issues we've been having lately, just to spray down taps and toilets and stuff like that, because it is rather effective that way. So one last thing I want to do here, this is actually a better example, because this is just a little bit of drip that goes down because of aquarium fittings and stuff. So, and these are, again, very old aquariums, but a lot less. This is something more on a level you would find typically in a fish room. So I'm going to spray this side, use the razor blade and and the scrub pad and towel just to clean it all up. And then we're going to have a direct comparison of just regular aquariums. And you're going to see the difference here as well. There's one other additional thing I want to do. As you probably suspect, once this is all dried off, the Windex one, again, doesn't quite match, or doesn't quite keep up. There's still some residue there. You can't see it quite yet, but once it dries, you'll see it. And that's actually the biggest issue with cleaning glass, especially in saltwater tanks, I find. I'll do a quick wipe sometimes, and then if I'm in a rush, I leave, and I come back the next time and wonder why there's all these streaks on it. And that's because you can't really see it half the time when it's still slightly wet. So I'm going to scrape this off. The angelfish at this point were really quite happy to watch me do stuff because they're hoping to get fed. But by the end video, they're saying, I've had enough of you. So there you go. You can just see faintly the little bit of residue that's left on there. That is the Windex. And over here on the vinegar side, it is perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the vinegar and the razor blade and all that stuff again, do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to do it the right hand side this time with the vinegar and see if I can get rid of that last little bit that's left there. So keep an eye on this and remember it, because we're going to switch over now. I'm just going to show you the final result here. And there you go. It's not completely gone, but it is quite a bit better. You can just see a little bit of it, especially near the top around where the snail is. Either I missed it or it didn't have enough time. Like as it runs down the side, obviously it will end up, spending more time, I guess, as it runs down. The stuff near the bottom will be in contact with the vinegar for longer. But yeah, that's fine. Either the top, bottom, it doesn't really make any difference. That's actually more than good enough for your usual fish room stuff. Now, whether or not I can use this for clients, I'm kind of up in the air a bit. Again, of course, I have to wait until I have clients again, because everyone's on lockdown right now. Because the big downside about it is it does have a fairly strong smell to it. Not so much like lingering, but when you initially spray it on, yeah, it can give your nose a little kick, which is not a big deal. But if I'm using it in a client's office, I'd have to be a little bit more careful with it, because if there are people in there at the time I do it, well, obviously if I do it after hours, it's perfectly fine. That's another thing I'm going to have to try out and test, real world, once and if that opportunity ever arises again. So thank you very much for watching this. I've been meaning to put up for a little while now. So like I said, I did this back in February. Friday's video is going to be something completely different. I was experimenting around earlier with a lot of airlift things for delivering water to tanks. I'm going to try something I haven't tried before. I'm not going to spoil what it is right now because, well, just because I don't want to spoil it, I guess. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. That would be very appreciated. And always leave comments, and I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.